Hello everyone, Joseph Osco with ANP's Roundtable discussion today for December 17th. I have my co-host Frank Ocanati here and two special guests. First on my right we have Pastor Dennis. Thanks for being with us.
Oh, it's an honor to be here. Thank you so much.
Honor's ours, Pastor.
Appreciate it.
And an old friend of mine, Harry Athlamidiotis, a young man that I go back with a long time. And but first, before we start, as far as our guests go, I think it would be appropriate for you to know just a little bit more about them. Pastor Dennis, would you care to tell the audience about your ministry?
Yes, I pastor the Chicago House of Praise, which is located on the north side of Chicago on by Toohey Avenue up there. We're using the Holiday Inn right now in the ballrooms that we have, and we're in search of our building. We've been there we've been in Chicago for about 8 years, and I grew up in Chicago, the Bucktown area, before it became real nice. And then I had gone to Lutheran North High School, and long story short, went to college, came home, Weber High School before it closed, Northern Illinois college basketball coach, Arkansas Little Rock college basketball coach, left in '96, got married to a pastor's daughter, on the job training for 8 straight years, and believe that God had told us to come back to Chicago and begin work.
Where are you at on Toohey? Toohey and what?
The Holiday Inn, Toohey and Central.
Toohey and Central.
Right.
Wow, so you're not too, you're right around all the shopping over there, right?
Not too far from Rosemont area.
Yeah.
Yeah, not too far from here.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
Is that
very
Chicago?
nice.
That's Chicago?
No, once you go across Toohey, then it becomes Skokie.
Skokie, okay.
Yeah. Otherwise the other side.
Well, thank you, Pastor. And actually, I'll add to that. Pastor Dennis has been nice enough to agree to start writing a column for American News Post on his ministries and various Christian
Christian walk. Just want to encourage people and just motivate them and just let them know that hey,
Thanks for helping me. I was
It's
having
part of
a tough time.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Explaining that. Harry, and what would you like to say to the audience? What are you doing with yourself? You live with your father?
Yes, actually.
You're going through a divorce.
Yes, and I actually moved back to my father's. I lived in suburbia for
just outside of Chicago.
Right,
yes.
for quite a while. Actually, I drive a school bus, and I work for Durham School Services.
Oh, good for you.
Yes.
I think what we're going to talk about today is school bullying. Pastor, you have some experience in the education field.
Yes, in fact, I was just doing that today at a high school when there was a young man. I had reported to one of the security guards and to the dean. The young man I was noticed was being bullied in the classroom and in the hallways. And so I tried to bring in the officials right away to begin to talk to the individuals who were doing the bullying, because that goes on a regular basis.
So even today in the year 2014, 2013.
Right, and it was just today that I had to make the discussion with those who were in charge of dealing with the bullying.
What school is this at?
Austin High School, Lincoln Central.
Yeah, right.
It's a real tough.
My son's over there in Maine, South, but I mean, you
Yeah.
got a nice setup there for bullying, though.
Yeah.
Harry,
Okay.
what are some of your memories of being bullied at school? And what was this, grade school?
Yeah, it was largely grade school, a little bit transferred into high school, but it was mostly, it started when I was 9, and I was, for some reason, being outcasted a lot because I was, I was actually the best dressed kid in the school.
I can attest to
And
that.
I didn't fit into a lot of the category of kids that were over there. I did run across a lot of kids that had behavioral problems. There's a number of things that were going on over there during those times. One kid tried to handcuff me in the recess area.
And what age was this, 9 years old?
I was about 9 years old, and what I did is I ran away really quick because I noticed something was not right over there. And at times I would get stuff thrown at me.
And Harry, how have those memories affected you today, if at all, or have they haunted you?
Well, they have haunted me, and it has caused problems in the classroom. And as I was growing up, it puts in more added stress to your life that you really don't even need. And a lot of what's going on with bullying right now is that people are kids committing suicide right now, and really it's it's something that has to be stopped, and also I also believe that
Well, I mean,
it should be a felony.
I think we're jumping too far ahead.
Right.
So at 9 years old, you're going to school,
Right.
and they're picking just a clique over there is just picking.
Right.
And the reason you think is, well, is because the way you dressed, or
Well, probably that was part of it.
Yeah, that was part of it. Yeah. And I had.
was there a certain ethnic group at that school?
Yeah, there was the ethnic group, and I don't want to get into the ethnic group.
No, that's fine.
But,
But when you weren't that ethnic group.
It
I
was,
was-
it was an Italian, prominently
Yeah.
an Italian American.
Italians don't do that.
Your usual bunch. Yes, I'll tell you that.
So
usual
you,
bunch.
a group of Italians that were probably pretty popular in the area, and you're what, Greek?
Yeah, I'm a mixture of Greek, but
But at 9 years
just
old,
even
you're
being
coming to
Greek,
school, and somebody probably started off with you, and then just build and build.
Well, actually, I was seen to be very different from other people, and because of that, I was not liked very well because I was not like cool.
You weren't the
like,
most popular.
I was like the
fans
Fonz type, of kid. You know what I'm saying?
You and I,
Yeah.
how did we get along?
Well, we got along just fine.
We were friends.
Right.
As far as I recall.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, so you went to school with them?
Yeah.
You said that in the beginning.
Yes,
Right.
yes, I'm a smidge older than.
So how did it
we're the
make you
same
feel?
school.
I mean, really getting, you disdain going to school every day?
Well, I compared later on with all the stuff that was going on in there. I compared the school to some other worse places that you can go to.
What other places would you compare the school to in your experience?
I would tell the teachers that I don't know if I should say this or not. Like I told you before.
Say it.
Like I would tell them that the jail would actually be better than going to school.
Yeah.
So it's a one-day way of saying it, but I mean, come on, like this is,
Yeah.
you go to school, you try to learn, you can't learn, you're being like
Harassed. And,
right. I mean, you can't even
everything you say, you're
right,
going to pick
exactly.
on you.
It's embarrassing, and it's
Frank, how different is it, the bullying that we hear that goes on today in the school systems, and the
I
bullying
think
that goes on
once a guy's targeted,
by, what about the bullies themselves when they get older, get
they
into...
become elected officials in Illinois,
exactly
or
exactly.
gangsters, or
Yeah,
whatever.
that's why I want to go to
Bullying
Washington.
is an insecurity.
Yeah, many times some of the ones that are doing it are the ones who are not very good students.
Right.
They have social emotional learning. They have a problem at home with acceptance at home. There's usually not a dad to create, a real discipline factor within the individual. And they target individuals who are quiet. It's kind of like the middle child. The younger one gets all the attention, and the middle one is the firstborn is the leader and the goer. But then there's the middle child, and it's almost like bullies target those who are kind of quiet, kind of reserved, kind of smart, don't fight back a lot because they've been taught to do the right
Individuals,
things. So that's who they target many times.
And it's sad because what I've seen, and it's probably in your case, once you're tagged, it's like
Yes.
you can't get out of it, because then socially nobody wants to be around you. Because I
exactly.
don't want to be with the guy they're all picking on,
And that's
horrible.
and they get away from it, and it's and the people do kill
Right.
themselves over it.
And that's exactly what happened to me too.
Yeah.
And
In fact, you and I, we've discussed that I look back and I feel shameful for some of the memories that I have in the fact that I did pal around with some of the bullies, not extensively, but I sort of...
What were some of the things they did? Besides handcuffing, which is pretty extreme.
one person, well,
They should have been put to jail.
in some instances,
The guy with the
I had
handcuffs, what
to,
was his background? You don't have to tell me his name, you don't have to tell, but was he a son of a cop?
because
Was he-
I didn't know him too well, but there's just a bunch of people that were doing these kind of things, and those are people
How did he
they
get
get suspended
handcuffs?
every day. They got it from somewhere. I don't know where they got it from. Another kid tried to push me down the stairwell, and he got suspended. Now this particular person was so bad he got expelled from school, and the military school would not accept him. This other guy.
He's probably an alderman in the
Yeah,
town.
His
now.
case file must have been really thick.
In several instances, with
Where's this
case
guy at
files.
today?
I have no idea. I don't even want to know. And I won't be surprised if he's like a mayor somewhere or something, you know.
Would, Pastor Dennis, does your ministry have a place for people like Harry who...
At this point, no, we don't have, because we don't have a building yet per se. If we had a building, then we would obviously try to meet with as many parents as possible. Because parent involvement is just so necessary in this case, because maybe a parent out there, if your child is not wanting to go to school, if he's afraid to go to school, or if he's afraid to associate with other students, which I'm sure came a time where, Mom, I don't want to go to school today. And you even maybe didn't want to dress as nice as you used to dress.
Is that correct?
You were withdrawing from the things that you liked because those were the things that they picked on.
Right.
So you weren't becoming you anymore. You were reducing who you were to be obscure from their vision, to their line of target. And so parents look for those things, you know, if your son or daughter is experiencing those things, or, you know, those things are going on.
And it's a big role of the parents, right?
Right, yeah. And
So
academically, you'll begin to fall too,
explain.
because you're not sitting there trying to concentrate. You're looking over who's going to throw something, who's coming, who's eyeing me, you know, who's looking at me, who's going to meet me at the door, who's going to catch me in the hallway. You're not thinking about trying to succeed academically anymore.
Can we pretty much agree that that type of behavior inflicted upon someone like Harry could cause Harry, or I don't want to use you as an example, but use people in Harry's position, could they develop a certain...
They'll develop insecurities.
Yeah, I was going to
They'll
say
be more
certain
Hatred,
personality disorders,
resentment.
like that.
Right, resentment. These are probably people, not him, because he came out of it, which we should talk about, the bullying. These are people that become killers and go out there and hate the world.
Well, we can't say that every kid that was bullied in school is going to go out and become a killer.
Well, it can be what's called displaced anger. You know, I would take something out on you because of what so-and-so did to me. I can't get them back, so I'm going to take it out on somebody. And so many times, as they get over, displaced anger can't happen.
How long did this last? From 9 years old till...
It was until I graduated
Grammar school?
Yeah, grammar school.
So from, so almost 4 years, or?
Yeah, for pretty much that. It was one of those things where I had no choice but to go to that school for other reasons. But later on, I had an issue with another person, caused me much more severe trouble, which involved even worse actual police action involved. Where the person went all the way to Cook County Jail eventually after 4 years of giving me trouble and other things that he did in the area, and then eventually ended up in the FBI office downtown with subpoena papers because something happened at the airport too.
Well, now, what was he actually? I mean, the viewers would want to know what are some of the things that these people did to you. You mentioned the handcuffs. I know the verbal abuse. What were they like saying to you verbally?
Is it too painful to
well,
read?
I'd rather not go into what exactly they would call me in there. But
they call you names, maybe
some names that were in a way aggravating,
or
those kind of
like
things.
That.
Yeah. I won't get into the specific details, but they really made different attempts to really ruin my life, and especially as well as my social life.
Oh, sure.
You know, and it was really not fair, and I was begging my parents to get me out of there. And plus, my dad was fighting my mom with, you know, getting me to Greek school. Oh. There was a Chicago school on Austin and Belmont.
Socrates,
yeah, where I could have gone over there, but my mom was fighting. He goes, no, he's going to stay right here in Oakland Park, not over there. And they were fighting back and forth, you know, and so on. It just kept on going.
Sure. Frank, how do you relate to Harry's experiences, but from the standpoint of an adult who's been picked on by certain political
powers?
Yes. You see a similarity?
Same type of thing. You're tagged. You're identified as someone to not be around, and they isolate you.
Exactly.
You know, and that's what they do in politics today. You know, you're not with the crew. You're not with the powers. You know,
if popular group.
And you're an individual, and you're trying just like he was an individual, and you try to be yourself, but they're trying to diminish you, trying to make you out to be a nut, or you're crazy, and anybody that's associated with you, they'll say, what are you doing with him?
Right.
You know, why are you with him? He's an idiot. He's a goof. And it is. It's at a higher level, and it hurts just the same. They they're evil. These people are evil that do this kind of, and that's who's running our government today, which is sad to say.
And I can see it hurting me even worse. You know, I've gone to college, I've paid my dues, I've been in the system, I've worked this thing, I've worked myself to get here, you know, and I feel I've made it, and all of a sudden, here you are, you get picked on as an adult. That's hard to deal with.
How does God help us, the ones that are picked on?
Yeah. In that situation, I try to introduce, you know, you got to find a place of peace in that situation because there's so much chaos going around. And that's one of the things I recommend is when you begin to pray to God, when you begin to ask God, God, help me in this situation, because He releases a level of peace, knowing what's taking place, that He's got you covered. He says, I will never leave you and I will never forsake you. I'll be with you always until the end of the earth. He says that. So at least you know you have one person in your corner who is there for you on a constant basis. And that gives you some peace, but it also gives you a strength to say, you know what, I'm not alone. Because how many times did you probably feel, my parents are fighting, and I'm alone in this thing? Mm-hmm. You know, when you feel alone, you feel defenseless.
Right.
And so that's why I try to say, hey, you know, we need God.
But that's their game plan, to make you feel like that, the mission. And what you just said, that the person, and I'm not a holy roller, I'm not a guy that preaches to you, but that's what kept me strong, because even your own family looks at you like, change. Maybe it's you. Maybe you did something wrong. Did you ever feel like that?
Did you ever feel as if you were the one that was wrong? Or
no, I didn't feel that at all. I just felt like
good.
I was severely displaced, and I felt like I was a person that was being completely ignored by a school system. They really didn't care about what they were doing, and all they cared about was the money.
Oh, you had an IEP. That's what they're called today. It was called special education. Oh, I've got you mixed up with a different student, maybe. Yeah. But there were, I think what you were talking about, there are kids who were in special education that the government would, I think, issue special funding for that. And schools, sometimes back 20, 30 years ago, wanted to capitalize on that, even at the child's expense, even if the kid wasn't.
These people go so far as to say, like I would get back to the faith. That's what's kept me strong, because I know I'm right. You know, there's two rules in this world that we were taught as kids, right and wrong, and to see what's going on, I try to teach my kids. Just, you know, stay strong, be yourself, always be yourself. It's the faith that keeps you knowing you're.
Is this uncomfortable for you?
No, it's just some things that you said kind of reminded me of some stuff. But I do know that there were some kids in there that they received different classes for other reasons in there.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and so you just kind of reminded me of what, you know. I mean, I was not.
Are you talking about? We're talking about some of the other programs. Yes.
Well, I have to explain other things too.
Well, we don't have to go into all those details.
Yeah, but there were some things going on in that school politically with the principal, and you know the system was going on over there. And when you mentioned that, I do think they were receiving funds from the state with that one. I heard that the more attendance they had, they would get like $3,000 per student.
Oh.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Is that correct?
Yeah, like on the schools, on the first day of school, you have to have as many kids. That's why you always see the big push. Everybody get there, everybody get to school. Because if you have a reduced attendance, then you get a less amount of money is allocated to you, yes. So that's why there's a big push to get everybody in on that first day, that first week, because that's going to determine how much funding that you're going to be getting for that year.
Well, what does that have to do with what you're saying here? The class or the...
We were talking about special education.
Oh, special education.
I didn't know what your background was. I don't remember. But it wasn't you that I mixed up my thoughts with.
Well, sometimes, if I may interject, because many times the special education kids that do that because they can't compete with you academically, and sometimes they can't compete with you financially. They can't compete with you in the areas that really matter. So they're going to reduce you to say, okay, this is where I excel. Now, how do you like this?
Right.
You know, and sometimes they're athletes too, because you know they excel. I say we because I was not a great student, but I excelled on the field. So when they came out the PE class, okay, now I'm gonna let you know who runs the show here. But in the classroom, I knew who ran the show, and it wasn't me.
Right.
So I had to get to the PE class to get on a level playing ground. And you dealt with
actually, I do believe what Joe was trying to focus on was with the IEP and special ed and all that, I believe he's trying to focus on with the school, and they were trying to get the financial, proceeds from the state with that, and that's how,
But in your case, the school let you down, people let you down. What did you end up turning to? You just suffered.
Well,
How did you
for
survive it, Harry? What was, how did you cope with it?
That I really don't want to get into
Okay.
how to cope with it.
But you had some
I
coping,
had to put up
you had some
a
a
lot
coping
of,
mechanism in place.
yeah,
Okay.
a lot of times I would have to deal with the police department with some of these people in there. The worst case scenario, I almost had to call the cops on this other kid that threw an ice ball in my head. And that's
Why don't
another
we,
one.
why don't
Yeah.
we just get away
Yeah,
from that?
whatever,
It's
yeah.
starting to sound gruesome.
Yeah.
Pastor, do you have a place at church on Sunday for someone like Harry who would want to come and worship?
Yeah, well, yes, at our place, Chicago House of Praise, on Sunday morning at 10 o'clock. And what I do is I try to bring an encouraging word. I bring a word that builds you up and encourages you. That wants to do that, so you can say, hey, I do believe in myself. I can make this thing happen. I do have help on a regular basis. And in the message, I give life stories and life principles, and I also give some application as to how you can apply them to your life. Because I use myself as open. I've made so many mistakes, and if God can work wonders in my life, I believe He can work wonders in anybody's life.
Yeah.
I really believe
I
that.
believe that too.
So, and I believe, man, your best is yet to come. Your best is yet to come. You continue to stay strong, continue to believe in God. Now, you're going to watch your world turn around. You're going to watch things get better. But the great thing is you're going to become stronger than you've ever been. This is not meant to destroy you. This is meant to strengthen you. And God's got big plans for you, man. Get ready. Get ready.
Thank you for those comforting words. That's something good to hear, to be reminded of. Changing the subject slightly, Frank, what's going on with Michael Magnifici, our former co-host who behaved inappropriately, broke the law with a firearm back in September of this year, was fired from the show and was in jail for quite a while.
I guess
He's home again.
He's home. He's back home with his love. And they had pictures on
Who's that,
Facebook.
Barbara Perillo?
I don't know her name. Barbara Perillo?
No, well, that was his love. Oh, wait, no, we're talking about the girl he's living with.
I forgot her. I don't know her name. But they're on Facebook.
Tina
He looks at
Searson.
They're in front of
Yes.
a Christmas tree.
Oh, really?
The
Yes.
Christmas tree looks like it was stolen out of the Hilton somewhere. There was no going there.
I think I saw the picture. It looks crooked.
Right.
Go figure. Look who owns the darn
Yeah,
tree.
right. No, he looks like he's back into his mode, back into his routine.
Does he look like he's on the pills and boozed up
I
again?
don't want to say that.
No.
Just they'll let them
I
people
just
make
asked.
their own
I didn't-
judgment.
I didn't
Yeah, no, I
suggest that was...
But he's there with his girl and Tina, and I haven't talked to him at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he's out and he's out.
Can
and
we
about.
see these pictures you have?
I don't have mine either on
Will you
Facebook.
send them to me later?
Sure.
Well, anything that comes to mind before we wrap up? I do want to say one thing, though, that just came to mind. We haven't had a show in a few weeks. I have had laryngitis. I've had 2 different strands of the cold, or the flu, and I'm just feeling better now. My voice is almost back to normal, and we'll be doing the show regularly again. And
Well, it's the holidays too.
and it's the holidays, and I believe
great viewers. The happy holidays.
that sort of is the reason why we had a little bit of an interruption, because of Thanksgiving and preparing for Christmas, and of course we wish all of you a very festive holiday season, and if we don't see you before the new year, we wish you a happy new year in advance. But we might see you before then. Pastor, any good encouraging words during this festive season you'd like to tell our audience? Maybe a little prayer or something?
I always believe that, if I may say, Jesus is the reason for the season.
Is he coming back? When's he coming back to save us all?
No, the Bible says we don't know the time or the hour.
Yeah, we're
He's
coming
back.
close, I think.
I
'cause
think
this,
we're coming
this
close.
world is really losing a lot of its morals.
We got a lot of things moving in the wrong direction, but I thank God that He's coming with everything.
Well, you know what?
shifted
You
back
also
in the
see a
right
lot of the
direction.
good coming out of people
Yeah,
during
this
these trying
is
times.
the time. I mean, if you ever notice, it's during this time of the year this Christmas time, when everybody just, their spirits are high, they want to give, they want to make a difference in someone's life, they want to help somebody out, you know, and that should be, that's how we were created to be 24/7 year-round.
We just
That's
lost
who
it.
we are.
The
We
greed
lost
lost it.
Right.
Greedy people. But next year, there's a lot, I want to tell you, there's a lot going on next year with the governor's race, the
Oh, can't wait to get back. Oh, well, what happened? Now you dropped out of the race for, or you not dropped out of the race. You
I
dropped
decided
out.
not to run after meeting
You
with
decided not to go on the
Commissioner
ballot.
Frenchie and Commissioner Silvestri. We had some agreement made. So
Oh, okay. But you threw your support behind who?
Brendan Houlihan
And that's,
for water reclamation.
you're advocating for.
It's on my Facebook. Anybody
Yes.
wants to jump on my Facebook?
Who's there now? One of the daily cronies or the?
Where water rec?
Yes.
It's Daley's nephew's there.
No. Who's running
Patrick.
it?
Who runs the water reclamation? There's 17 commissioners.
Oh.
What do you think? There's 17 or 11.
Mhm.
I don't know the exact number. But the one in charge is they say the 19th ward of Chicago. I don't know. That's the power. Meany is the president.
I see.
But it's really run behind the scenes by the
Okay.
Dailies,
So,
the Madigans.
Houlihan for water rec, is that it?
Houlihan is an independent man. He's a good man.
Good to know.
He knows, he's experienced, and he'll go in there and clean it up. Clean up your water.
Good, good. We have great water in Chicago. I promised someone out there I would do
Fluoride.
this.
Right?
I did it.
Now they were saying something about fluoride with tap water and all that.
Oh, that's been there for years.
I think that's the only way they can purify.
Ladies and gentlemen in our audience, thank you for watching our show today. We will see you soon.
Happy holidays.
Yes,
Merry Christmas.
be blessed.